Apple is about to pull off something they've literally never done before. Not the foldable, everybody's talking about that. I mean, something hiding inside the iPhone 18 Pro Max that is about to change how iPhone cameras fundamentally work. And there's a move Apple's making with this entire fall lineup that once you see it, you cannot unsee it. We'll get there. But first, the camera, the iPhone 18 Pro, Pro Max, and the first ever foldable iPhone are all coming September 2026. The 6.3-inch Pro, the 6.9-inch Pro Max, and the Fold, that's your fall 2026 iPhone lineup. The more affordable iPhone 18 and iPhone 18e, not until spring 2027. So if you want a new iPhone this fall, you're buying Pro. That's not an accident. We'll talk about why in a bit. I've gone deep on every credible leak, analyst note, and supply chain report through March 2026. And there are 6 things about the iPhone 18 Pro Max that are genuinely worth your attention. 2 of them are exciting. One of them is a little suspicious. And one of them, honestly, is kind of sneaky. Let's start with the thing that's going to be on every thumbnail this fall. The main rear 48 megapixel fusion camera on both iPhone 18 Pro models is expected to offer variable aperture, which would be a first for the iPhone. Now, variable aperture on a smartphone isn't new. Samsung tried it years ago, but here's what matters. A variable aperture would let iPhone users manually adjust how much light gets to the sensor, cutting down on overexposure and providing new customization options for lighting and depth of field. In real life, that means portrait shots with background separation that doesn't look like software guessing where your jacket ends and the wall begins, night shots that don't turn every lamp into a small sun, actual physical control over the lens. But here's the part nobody mentions, and this is the honest version. Smartphone sensors are small, and no matter how good the aperture system is, physics doesn't care about your marketing material. So the real question isn't whether variable aperture exists on this phone. It's whether it makes a visible difference in everyday photos. We won't know that until September. Anyone telling you otherwise is guessing. What I can tell you is this: the camera story doesn't stop at aperture. Samsung is working on a new 3-layer stacked image sensor reportedly intended for the iPhone 18. The sensor integrates 3 layers of circuitry, which would improve camera responsiveness, reduce noise, and increase dynamic range. Sony has long been Apple's sole image sensor supplier, so Samsung's entry would be a big shift in the iPhone's camera supply chain. Apple possibly switching from Sony for their camera sensor. That's not a spec sheet rumor, that's a supply chain earthquake if it's real. The iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max are expected to get the A20 Pro chip, Apple's next generation processor built on TSMC's first generation 2nm process. The current A19 Pro is built on 3 nanometers, and 2 nanometers is a long-awaited step down in node size. Okay, but what does 2 nanometer actually mean if you don't work at TSMC? Think of it this way. Smaller transistors means more of them fit on the same chip, which means more processing power using less electricity. That means your phone runs faster, runs cooler, and your battery lasts longer, all at the same time. It's not magic, it's just physics working in your favor for once, and it's not just the main chip getting an upgrade. iPhone 18 Pro models are expected to have Apple's next generation N2 chip for Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Thread connectivity. The current N1 chip already improves performance and reliability of features like personal hotspot and AirDrop, so the N2 should push that further. Now, remember that thing about Apple's pricing move I mentioned at the top? We need to get there, but first, there's one feature that almost nobody is talking about seriously, and it might be the actual biggest story on this phone. Apple's next generation C2 modem chip is expected in 2026 and is expected to be more capable than the current chip. The C2 could feature mmWave 5G connectivity and will be closer in performance to the Qualcomm modem chips it replaces. Fine, modem upgrade, cool. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Apple's C2 modem could add support for 5G satellite connectivity, allowing Apple to use NR-NTN, new radio non-terrestrial networks. This standard allows for direct phone to satellite links, as well as the use of satellites as backhaul for carrier networks to extend coverage into remote areas. The addition would potentially allow the iPhone 18 Pro models to offer full internet access over satellite, supplementing 5G networks when standard networks are unavailable. Apple is also planning to allow third-party apps to access a satellite connection, plus Apple Maps and the Photos app could work over satellite. Full internet, third-party apps over satellite when there's no cell signal. Let that land for a second. If Apple meets the 2026 target, the first devices to feature 5G satellite internet would likely be the iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18 Pro Max, and the foldable iPhone. There is currently no service that delivers full 5G satellite internet directly to a smartphone. Bold promise, real engineering challenges, but if this actually ships and actually works, it's a bigger deal than the variable aperture camera, and almost nobody in the tech media is treating it that way. Okay, time for the part that's going to frustrate some of you. The iPhone 18 Pro models are expected to feature the same general design as the iPhone 17 Pro models, a triple lens rear camera system with a large camera plateau. Display sizes are also expected to remain unchanged, with the Pro at 6.3 inches and the Pro Max at 6.9 inches. Same design, same sizes, same camera bump shape. If you're upgrading from a 17 Pro Max, someone might genuinely need to tell you which phone you're holding, but, and this is a meaningful but, it's been rumored that Face ID's flood illuminator will be moved under the screen on the iPhone 18 Pro models, paving the way for a smaller dynamic island. It was initially reported that both Face ID components would go fully under screen, with only the front camera visible. However, the latest rumors indicate that only one Face ID component will be moved under the screen, resulting in merely a smaller dynamic island. So, not the full illumination some people were hoping for, just smaller, which is still welcome, but let's not pretend it's the same thing as no notch at all. Rumors also suggest the MagSafe charging area could feature a slightly transparent finish, and the iPhone 18 Pro models could drop the current two-tone look of the rear casing in favor of a more seamless aesthetic. On colors, the special color for the iPhone 18 Pro models will reportedly be red, a deep red, rich, not the product red, charity red, more of a premium burgundy tone based on descriptions. And look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that doesn't look good, because it probably will. Here's one that's easy to miss in all the headline chasing. Apple is reportedly working to simplify the camera control buttons design on iPhone 18 models in order to reduce costs. And the current camera control button uses both capacitive and a pressure sensors beneath a sapphire crystal surface. The capacitive layer detects touch gestures, while the force sensor recognizes different pressure levels. However, Apple will reportedly remove the capacitive sensing layer and retain only pressure sensing in the next iteration. That means a simplified camera control button with no swipe gestures. So Apple is giving you a new camera mode, variable aperture, and simultaneously removing gesture functionality from the button design and to control the camera. They giveth and they taketh, and they call it simplification. Okay, this is the part I mentioned at the top. The thing Apple is hoping you don't think too hard about. The more expensive iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max will launch in September 2026 alongside the new foldable iPhone. The more affordable iPhone 18 and iPhone 18e models won't come out until spring 2027. Customers who want to upgrade during the standard fall timeline will need to opt for one of the more expensive iPhone models. Those who want a better deal will have to wait until next spring. Now, in fall 2026, Apple's three most expensive iPhones launch together: the iPhone 18 Pro, the iPhone 18 Pro Max, and the iPhone Fold, which could be upwards of $2,000. You see what's happening here? Apple puts a $2,000 foldable on the table next to the iPhone 18 Pro Max. Suddenly, the Pro Max feels like the reasonable choice, the affordable option against a $2,000 foldable. That's anchoring, and it's textbook. I'm not saying the Pro Max isn't worth it. I think it might genuinely be one of the strongest upgrade cycles in years, especially if you're on a 15 Pro or older. I'm just saying Apple is very, very good at making you feel like you're getting a deal, even when the baseline is $1,200. So, where does this land? The iPhone 18 Pro Max is shaping up to be one of those upgrades that doesn't look dramatic but genuinely feels different to use. The variable aperture camera, if it delivers, changes what iPhone photography can do. The 2 nanometer A20 Pro chip pushes performance and efficiency meaningfully forward. The satellite internet story, if it ships as described, is one of the biggest connectivity upgrades any smartphone has ever had. And the smaller dynamic island, new seamless rear aesthetic, and deep red color make the whole package feel refreshed. Even if the silhouette is familiar, here's the honest matrix. If you're on an iPhone 15 Pro or older, this is a genuinely compelling upgrade. Don't overthink it. If you're on an iPhone 16 Pro Max, solid jump, especially for the camera and chip. If you're on an iPhone 17 Pro Max, wait. You already have the best iPhone Apple's made, unless that variable aperture camera turns out to be everything it sounds like on paper. In which case, okay, maybe. And if you're sitting there wondering whether to wait for the iPhone Fold instead, I've got a deep dive on that coming that'll help you make that call, because that phone is a completely different kind of decision and a completely different kind of money. One last thing. Apple still isn't offering a black option for the Pro Max. Deep red, sure. Burgundy, fine. Black, apparently still too edgy for Cupertino. Maybe next year. See you next video. Peace.